If you're over 60 and noticing your hair getting thinner, your hairline receding, or bald patches developing, I want you to know something important. This isn't just about aging. This isn't just about genetics. And the good news is, it's not inevitable. What I'm about to share with you addresses the root cause that almost no one talks about, a cause that's driving hair loss in millions of older adults. And it's something you can actually fix. In the next few minutes, I'm going to explain exactly why hair loss happens as we age, what's really causing those follicles to shut down, and most importantly, a comprehensive natural approach that addresses the problem at every level. From the cellular environment of your scalp to the hormones and nutrients your hair needs to grow. I'll also share specific foods that provide exactly what your follicles need to restart growth. This isn't about expensive treatments or medications with concerning side effects. This is about understanding what's happening in your body and giving your hair follicles what they need to function again. Let me start by explaining what's actually happening when you lose hair. Most age-related hair loss is what we call androgenic. In men, this typically shows up as male pattern baldness, where hair is lost primarily on the top and crown of the head. In women, it usually appears as overall thinning, particularly through the top and part line. And here's something interesting that might seem contradictory. Some men lose the hair on top of their head while growing more hair on their face and chin. How can the same body lose hair in one place while growing it in another? The answer lies in understanding the hair follicle environment. Let me explain what's really happening. Each hair on your head grows from a follicle. The follicle isn't the hair itself. It's the entire ecosystem around the hair, a tiny factory with a very specific job, producing hair. And here's what's crucial to understand. The hair follicle requires more oxygen than almost any other tissue in your body. It's packed with mitochondria, those cellular energy factories we've talked about before. Your hair follicles are energy-intensive operations. They need abundant oxygen and robust mitochondrial function to do their job. When either of these declines, hair growth slows or stops. Now let's talk about hormones, because this is where things get interesting. As we age, testosterone levels naturally decline in both men and women. Yes, women have testosterone too, just in smaller amounts. But while regular testosterone decreases, another hormone increases. This hormone is called DHT, which stands for dihydrotestosterone. DHT is a more potent form of testosterone. Your body converts regular testosterone into DHT using a specific enzyme. And here's the critical point. While we need some DHT for normal function, including libido and other important processes, too much DHT is a problem for hair follicles. Excessive DHT does several damaging things to your hair follicles. First, it reduces oxygen supply to the follicle. Second, it increases inflammation in the scalp tissue. Third, it promotes scar tissue formation around the follicles. And fourth, once that scar tissue develops, the follicle essentially shuts down. The scalp in those areas often becomes shiny because the scar tissue has replaced the normal tissue structure. This is the basic mechanism behind androgenic hair loss. Many hair regrowth medications work by blocking the enzyme that converts testosterone to DHT. And yes, these medications can help regrow hair, but they come with potential side effects, including decreased libido and erectile dysfunction in men. This happens because these drugs shut down DHT production throughout your entire body, not just in your scalp. So we need to ask a deeper question. Why is DHT increasing so much in the first place? Is it just age? Well, I'm 60 years old and I haven't experienced significant hair loss. Meanwhile, many people in their 40s or 50s have lost considerable hair. So it's not just about getting older. Is it genetics? Genetics certainly play a role. Some people have more of the enzyme that converts testosterone to DHT. Some people have receptors that are more sensitive to DHT. But even if you have a genetic predisposition, there are still factors you can control. And here's the key insight that changes everything. The primary driver of elevated DHT beyond age and genetics is insulin resistance. This is the piece that almost no one talks about, but it's probably the most important factor you can actually influence. Insulin resistance is a condition where your cells stop responding properly to insulin. Your body has to produce more and more insulin to manage blood sugar. And this state of chronic high insulin has widespread effects throughout your body, including on your hormones. When you have insulin resistance, you express more of the enzyme that converts testosterone to DHT. You're literally making more of the hormone that's damaging your hair follicles. Additionally, insulin resistance affects your liver function. Your liver plays a crucial role in regulating hormones, including testosterone. When insulin resistance impairs liver function, you end up with more free testosterone circulating in your bloodstream, which then gets converted into even more DHT. So insulin resistance creates a double problem: more enzyme converting testosterone to DHT, and more free testosterone available to be converted. This is why addressing insulin resistance is absolutely fundamental to solving hair loss. But it's not enough by itself. Let me explain why. Now, here's where most approaches to hair loss fall short. You might think, okay, if insulin resistance is the root cause, I'll just fix that. Or maybe I'll take a natural supplement that blocks that enzyme, mimicking the drug effect without the side effects. But the reality is more complex. Even if you lower DHT, even if you correct insulin resistance, you still have to deal with the damaged follicle environment. Think about it this way. Hair transplants work, right? Surgeons can take hair follicles from the back of your head and transplant them to areas where you're bald, and often those hairs will grow. But here's the key. They don't transplant just the hair. They transplant the entire follicle, the whole ecosystem. It's like transplanting not just a plant, but the soil it grows in. The follicle is the environment that allows hair to grow. And if that environment is damaged, filled with scar tissue, starved of oxygen, inflamed, no amount of hormone balancing will make hair grow there. So you need a comprehensive approach that addresses both the hormonal causes and the follicle environment itself. Let me walk you through the most effective strategies. The first and most overlooked approach is mechanical stimulation of your scalp. This is incredibly important. You need to wake up dormant stem cells in your follicles. You need to break down scar tissue. You need to improve circulation and oxygen delivery. Many people do this through intensive scalp massage, which can help. But the most effective method, backed by substantial research, is microneedling. Microneedling uses tiny needles to create controlled micro-injuries in your scalp. I know that might sound concerning, but here's why it works. Those tiny injuries trigger your body's healing response. They break up scar tissue. They stimulate stem cells. They improve blood flow. They allow oxygen to reach the follicles again. Think of it like aerating soil. If soil becomes too compacted, water and oxygen can't penetrate. Seeds won't grow. But if you aerate that soil, breaking it up, suddenly water, oxygen, and nutrients can reach the roots again. Microneedling does this for your scalp. It opens up the tissue so healing can occur. The second critical strategy is red light therapy, also called near-infrared light therapy. This is fascinating science. Your hair follicles are packed with mitochondria, those cellular powerhouses. But in damaged, inactive follicles, those mitochondria are often dysfunctional. They're not producing enough energy. Red and near-infrared light, specifically wavelengths between 630 and 850 nanometers, directly stimulate mitochondrial function. The light energy literally helps repair and reactivate your mitochondria. Research on this is robust. They're now using red light therapy to improve eyesight in older adults, to heal injuries faster, to reduce inflammation. For hair, it provides the cellular energy needed for growth. Combine microneedling with red light therapy, and you're creating an environment where hair can grow again. You're breaking down barriers and providing cellular energy. The third strategy involves natural substances that improve circulation and provide other benefits. The most notable is rosemary oil. Now, you've probably heard of Rogaine, a common hair loss medication. Rogaine doesn't work by blocking DHT. Instead, it works by dilating blood vessels, improving circulation to the scalp. Better circulation means more oxygen and nutrients reaching the follicles. Rosemary oil has been shown in research to produce effects comparable to Rogaine, but through natural compounds. The phytonutrients in rosemary improve circulation significantly. They also have mild DHT-reducing effects, anti-inflammatory properties, and they help protect mitochondria. So rosemary oil addresses multiple aspects of the problem simultaneously. The fourth strategy is correcting the underlying insulin resistance. This is absolutely non-negotiable. If insulin resistance is driving excessive DHT production, you must address this, or everything else is just temporarily fighting an ongoing problem. Correcting insulin resistance typically involves reducing refined carbohydrates and sugars, which we've discussed in previous videos. It means avoiding the industrial starches and ultra-processed foods that spike blood sugar and insulin. It often involves intermittent fasting, or at least not eating constantly throughout the day. And it means focusing on whole, unprocessed foods that don't create massive insulin responses. As insulin resistance improves, DHT production naturally moderates. The liver functions better. Hormone balance improves. This creates the foundation for everything else to work. The fifth strategy involves two critical nutrients, zinc and vitamin D. These two nutrients are absolutely essential for hair growth. They stimulate stem cells in the follicles. They support the growth factors that tell follicles to produce hair. For vitamin D, I recommend at least 10,000 international units daily. Many older adults are significantly deficient in vitamin D, and this deficiency directly impacts hair growth among many other things. For zinc, I'd recommend 30 to 40 milligrams daily. Zinc is involved in hundreds of enzymatic processes, including those that regulate hair follicle function. Many older adults are also deficient in zinc, particularly if they're not eating much red meat or shellfish. The sixth strategy involves natural inhibitors of that enzyme that converts testosterone to DHT. Now, I'm not saying you need all of these, but if you want to add extra support, there are several natural substances that can help. Saw palmetto is probably the most well-known. It has research showing it can help reduce DHT levels. Pumpkin seed oil also acts as a natural 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. That's the name of the enzyme. EGCG, which is the primary polyphenol in green tea, has DHT-reducing properties. Peppermint oil has shown benefits in research. And zinc, which I already mentioned, also helps regulate this enzyme. These natural substances won't completely shut down DHT production like a drug would, but they can help moderate it, especially when combined with addressing insulin resistance. Now let me share something practical. The best meal you could eat to support hair regrowth. This meal provides concentrated amounts of the nutrients your follicles need most. Here's what it includes. First, liver. I know, not everyone loves liver, but from a nutritional standpoint for hair health, nothing else comes close. Liver contains highly bioavailable iron called heme iron, which your hair follicles need. It's rich in zinc, copper, selenium, and other trace minerals essential for hair growth. It provides B vitamins in abundance. If you're serious about regrowing hair, incorporating liver into your diet once or twice a week can make a significant difference. Second, onions. Beyond making liver more palatable, onions are extraordinarily high in quercetin, a powerful anti-inflammatory compound. Inflammation in the scalp is part of what shuts down follicles, so reducing inflammation systemically helps. Onions also provide sulfur compounds that support hair structure. Third, sauerkraut. This might surprise you, but sauerkraut is one of the most nutrient-dense foods you can eat. A half cup of sauerkraut provides about 700 milligrams of vitamin C, more than almost any other food. Vitamin C is essential for collagen production, which supports the structural integrity of follicles. Sauerkraut also contains over 600 different phytonutrients, many of which help reduce DHT and support overall health. Plus, as a fermented food, it supports gut health, and gut health influences inflammation and nutrient absorption throughout your body. Fourth, pumpkin seeds. These provide magnesium and various trace minerals. They're also a source of that natural 5-alpha reductase inhibitor we talked about. Pumpkin seed oil has been studied specifically for hair loss and shows beneficial effects. So if you wanted to create an ideal meal for hair health, it might look like this. Liver sautéed with onions, a side of sauerkraut, and pumpkin seeds as a snack or mixed into a salad. Would you eat this every day? Probably not. But incorporating these foods regularly provides concentrated nutritional support for hair regrowth. Now let me tie this all together. Hair loss after 60 is not inevitable. It's driven primarily by hormonal changes, specifically elevated DHT, which is itself largely driven by insulin resistance. The elevated DHT creates a toxic environment in hair follicles, reducing oxygen, increasing inflammation, and promoting scar tissue. To reverse this, you need a comprehensive approach. Address insulin resistance through diet and lifestyle. This moderates DHT production. Use mechanical stimulation, particularly microneedling, to break down scar tissue and reactivate dormant follicles. Use red light therapy to restore mitochondrial function and provide cellular energy for hair growth. Apply rosemary oil to improve circulation and provide additional benefits. Ensure adequate intake of zinc and vitamin D, either through food or supplementation. Consider natural DHT-reducing substances if you want additional support. And eat foods that provide concentrated nutrition for hair follicles, like the meal I described. Will this work for everyone? I can't promise that. Genetics do play a role, and some follicles may be too damaged to recover. But for many people over 60, this comprehensive approach can produce significant improvements. Hair may not grow back as thick as it was when you were 20, but noticeable regrowth is often possible. The key is consistency. These aren't quick fixes. You need to maintain these practices for months to see results. Hair grows slowly. Follicles need time to heal and reactivate. But if you're patient and consistent, you may be surprised by what's possible. Remember, your body wants to be healthy. It wants to grow hair. When you remove the obstacles and provide what's needed, healing can occur even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Thank you for watching. If you found this information helpful, please share it with others who might benefit. Hair loss affects millions of older adults, and most people don't understand the real causes or the comprehensive solutions available. If you want more information on reversing insulin resistance, which is foundational to this approach, I have detailed videos on that topic. Check the description for links. Here's to your health, your confidence, and yes, possibly your hair in the years ahead.